All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, we're going to have a real mentor-to-mentee conversation today. If you're working in IT support right now, you might be feeling a bit stuck. You've completely mastered the art of asking, have you tried turning it off and on again? And you definitely know your way around an operating system. But your career trajectory? It just feels like it's flatlining. So today we're going to talk about exactly why your IT support career might be stalling, and much more importantly, exactly how to fix it by leveling up from L1 all the way to an AI architect. So let's kick things off with a pretty tough question. Why do so many capable L1 engineers plateau? The honest truth here is that most frontline techs absolutely do not lack the intelligence or the drive to advance, not at all. They plateau because they rely on following pre-written scripts rather than developing true systems thinking. And frankly, a lot of the time, they simply just don't know what specific skills they need to learn next to break through to that next tier. And honestly, that brings us to this absolutely jarring statistic. Right now, 86% of organizations are struggling with what's called a talent velocity gap. What this actually means is that companies desperately need advanced, adaptable technical skills, but they literally cannot mobilize or train their people fast enough to meet the demand. There is a massive vacuum at the top, just waiting for people who know how to step up. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the honest truth, the Level 1 foundation, the Level 2 upgrade, Level 3 architecture, and finally, the AI wildcard. Let's get into it. Section 1. The honest truth. Escaping the scripted support trap. Look, there is a profound shift happening right now in everyday ticket volumes. Up to 70 to 80% of routine tickets, we're talking password resets, basic account unlocks, simple software installs, they are being completely automated by AI chatbots and self-service portals. The low complexity tasks that used to completely define entry-level work, they're vanishing. What's left over is that 25% that is highly complex and requires real human analytical brainpower. Because of that, you have to make a massive mindset shift. To survive and thrive in this space, you've got to transition away from reactive task execution, just blindly following runbooks, and become a modern, data-driven technical analyst who proactively evaluates system behavior and dives deep into log analysis. You're no longer just treating the symptom. You really have to diagnose the disease. Section 2. Level 1. Foundation. Mastering the frontline basics. All right, so the absolute most crucial point here is establishing a rock-solid Level 1 foundation before you can even think about climbing higher. Looking at our roadmap, L1 is step 1. It acts as the critical gatekeeper between the end user and the broader IT infrastructure. You really cannot skip this step. It's exactly where you build your core operational instincts. At this L1 stage, your toolkit basically consists of mastering ticket triage, figuring out exactly how to categorize and prioritize a problem. You need a really firm grip on basic networking concepts like DHCP and DNS, and thorough OS troubleshooting for both Windows and macOS. But honestly, perhaps most importantly, your toolkit has to include communication and empathy. You must be an expert at translating complex IT speak into plain non-IT speak for frustrated users. Now, a really strong L1 engineer focuses heavily on first contact resolution, or FCR. But here is the real secret sauce. When an issue is just too complex for FCR, a great L1 agent gathers the exact context, the exact symptoms, and the exact steps already taken. That way, when a ticket absolutely must be escalated, the next tier isn't starting completely blind. You are actively teeing up the rest of your team for success. Moving on to Section 3, Level 2, Upgrade, Entering the Technical Matrix. The big evolution here is moving completely off the script. While L1 follows the playbook, L2 is all about deep investigation. It's about replicating bugs in controlled environments, diving deep into the backend, and figuring out the underlying why behind the symptoms the user is experiencing. You literally become a technical detective. Your technical depth really has to increase here. Take SQL, for example. An L1 analyst might just look at metadata to identify a table. But at Level 2, you move into semantic complexity. You're actively mapping user issues and business rules directly to database behavior. You are actually querying the system to prove where the breakdown really occurred. To pull this off, your specific L2 skill cluster has to expand. You're going to be using tools like Grafana or Loki to spot performance degradation in the system logs. You'll intercept API failures using Postman and browser dev tools.
You need to be able to definitively prove to a developer whether a bug is a 404 missing resource, an HTTP 500 server crash, or a CORS security restriction. You aren't just passing tickets anymore. You are actively coordinating incident management.
Section 4, Level 3, Architecture, the Senior Engineering Domain. At this stage, you completely stop just fixing things and you start preventing them. While an L2 specialist applies the patch and gets the system running, an L3 engineer dives right into the source code or the infrastructure architecture to ensure that specific failure never ever happens again. This top tier requires mastering full system observability. You're connecting metrics, logs, and traces to really see the health of the entire ecosystem. You'll build automation scripts, like with Python or PowerShell, to handle those repetitive tasks that used to just bog down L1. And critically, you step up to lead blameless post-mortem reviews, fostering a culture of centralized documentation and continuous improvement. At this level, you are engineering reliability. Finally, Section 5, the AI Wildcard, your ultimate career multiplier. Listen, the days of just manually tweaking prompt syntax in ChatGPT are already dying. Look at this timeline. We've moved so rapidly from manual prompting to retrieval-augmented generation and now right into agentic AI orchestration. Tools like DSPY are literally automating prompt optimization. The high-paying, future-proof jobs today require you to build and orchestrate autonomous AI agents using frameworks like LangGraph, basically treating AI as a programmable module within your broader infrastructure. And why does this actually matter for you? Well, just look at the numbers. AI isn't killing IT support, it is elevating the baseline. While standard AI skills might net you a 15% bump, engineers who can confidently manage these agentic workflows and integrate AI directly into IT operations, they are seeing a massive 40 to 50% salary premium over baseline tech roles. The market is aggressively rewarding this very specific expertise. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful realization from the research. Listen to this. AI isn't ending engineering careers, it's sorting them. Automation is absolutely incredible at handling the what, the routine, the repetitive, the scripted stuff. But the modern engineer must step up to handle the why and the how of complex, unpredictable infrastructure. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one critical question to ask yourself right now. Are you preparing to analyze systems, or are you preparing for tasks that automation already knows how to do? Take some time to map out your skill gaps, ditch the script, and start climbing that ladder to your next level.